Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 6, Episode 90 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, how are you doing this afternoon?
Great, Sam. A little tired. It's been a long week, but pushing through it to get this pod done. And big weekend of college basketball ahead. Big night of regional championships here in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, we will have a lot of brackets the next time we do a pod, whether that's tomorrow night, whether it's Sunday night. But here is the list of when we're getting each conference's bracket. Tonight we get the Sun Belt. Tomorrow we get the NEC, OVC, Patriot, Summit League, Big South, ASUN, SoCon, Horizon, and WCC. On Sunday we get the Missouri Valley and the MAC, so that's a big day for both of us. On Monday we get the Big Sky and Southland. On Tuesday we get the CAA and America East. On Thursday we get the SWAC and MEAC. On next Friday we get the other MAC, MAC. Next Saturday, ACC, SEC, Big 12, Big East, Mountain West, A10, Ivy, Big West, CUSA, and the WAC. And then next Sunday, Big 10 and American close us out. Jonathan, what bracket are you most looking forward to seeing?
So obviously the easy answer for me is the Missouri Valley, but this Sunday, the final regular season date for the conference, it feels weird. Like, in my memory, all these games usually start at the same time, which is like fun to keep track of, but they're staggered. And obviously, not every team is playing on Sunday because the conference has an odd number of teams this year, which has not normally been the case.
We also have slate maps. Those just started today. I'll have more of those coming up soon. But now is the time when those kind of really go. I go hard on those. I'm going to be really excited for that. So I'll be up early working on those tomorrow as well.
If I had to throw out a non-biased answer, by the way, Sun Belt and Horizon League, just because of the formats of them.
Okay. I am going to say Big Sky.
Our Eastern Washington squad.
And Big East.
One kind of out of the box, and one you will be attending.
Yes, that was why I chose it.
It's a good choice. Good choice.
All right, Jonathan, let's get into some ball games for this weekend. We'll have a lot of mid-major stuff later in this show, but there are a lot of big games this week. I have notes on a lot of them, and I want to start tonight in Champaign. Michigan at Illinois. Illinois hasn't lost to Michigan since 2019, Jonathan. So will that trend continue at State Farm Center, or will the Wolverines be able to pick up another win and clinch the outright Big Ten regular season championship?
I don't think that Michigan has a guard like some of these teams that like can hunt mismatches against Illinois, like some of these teams have been doing. And I think for that reason, like, typically in these kind of games, hard to go against Michigan at this rate. But Illinois, I don't think has like a real disadvantage like some of these other teams. Like, sure, Michigan's the all-around better team. Like, their defense is substantially better. Offense is not that far behind Illinois. But like schematically, I think Illinois can actually be okay in this, especially because like Illinois can play with them on the glass, which not a lot of teams can do with Michigan.
My question is, will either team be able to get to the rim? And will either team be able to keep the other away from the rim? Because you look at both of these teams are both elite at getting to the rim and both elite at preventing teams from getting to the rim. They do it in different ways. Obviously, Illinois with their drop, they kind of force you to play in the mid-range a lot, and Illinois gets to the rim a lot. They have a lot of rim attempts. They have they're a great offensive rebound team. That's part of it. Michigan
Absolutely.
can kind of hang with them on the glass. They're not the most elite rebounding team, Michigan, on the defensive side, but they're good enough at that. And they are the best team in the country at keeping you away from the rim on your 2-point attempts. Michigan also gets their 2-point attempts pretty close to the rim, but it's not because of their guards being able to kind of pick apart pick and roll coverages. It's because their bigs can crash in so many different ways and get around the rim. You can throw it into 3 different guys around the post. You have a bunch of guys that can kind of attack in those scenarios. And you're right about the fact that Michigan doesn't have those Donovan Dent, John Blackwell, Nick Boyd style guards that Illinois has kind of had a little bit of trouble with. Cadeau is a great player. He's not that level of aggressive player. Obviously, McKinney, Burnett, more of shooters at this point in time. Roddy Gale, solid player, but clearly not the level that like a Dent or Blackwell or Boyd is.
Wolverine Corner is going to come after you for that.
But I think Michigan's good at they don't need to use a ton of ball screens to generate their offense. They have a bunch of good off-ball movers. So maybe the drop coverage doesn't really come into play, and they're kind of able to just one-on-one attack the rim. And that's kind of my other thing on Illinois. Like, obviously, Wagler is the best guard in this game. Will he kind of be able to? Will he be able to get into the paint at all? And if he gets into the paint, what will he do when he does get in the paint? Despite Illinois being 4-3 since February 1st, they're second in Torvik in that stretch. So kind of the quote unquote concerns that we've had about them matchup wise, in terms of like going against these elite guards, despite that, they're still playing elite basketball.
Yeah, they've lost 3 games in the last 2.5 months, and all of them have been in overtime.
Now, part of that is driven by blowout wins over Northwestern, Indiana, and USC, winning by 40, 20, and 36. But again, their losses are really close. 2 of them are away. One of them was against a Wisconsin team that also beat Michigan. That's kind of where I'm at with this game. Really curious to see how Mirkovic stacks up against this Michigan front court. I think he's going to need to play a good game for them. He was not very good against UCLA. He was early in the season. I felt like he was everywhere. I haven't felt that way about him for most of Big Ten play. I think he's going to have a big responsibility handling some of the weight of this Michigan front court. And obviously, Illinois has a bunch of options that they can go to. But again, I think they're going to need his physicality, his aggressive-ness on the defensive side of the ball, his rebounding ability over, say, what they might get in some stretches out of Humrick House offensively, which I think they'll need in doses, or Jake Davis as well. They'll need in doses, but I think they need Mirkovic to play a really strong, complete game on both ends.
One of the things I will be looking for is, we're obviously late in the season and fatigue is a real thing, especially in the Big Ten, which is a physical league. Michigan's had 6 days off since they last played. A lot of time to regroup after that tough loss at Pauley Pavilion. In the second half specifically, does Illinois look like the more physical and energized team?
Yeah, it's a good point. Michigan's kind of offensive weakness in terms of the statistical profile, not necessarily in terms of the personnel profile, is the turnovers.
Turning it over.
Illinois doesn't force turnovers, so that's kind of negated in that sense. But it's not because, it's not. I don't think it's in a way that Michigan. I don't think that's necessarily in a way that hurts or benefits either side here. I think it's just kind of a way of the schematics and how they work out in this game. I don't think that has a major impact here.
Yeah, I expect the game to be, work for every basket. I understand that it's a contrast of styles. Illinois likes to slow things down, play in the half court, and Michigan likes to play in transition. But I really do think that this game's going to be about physicality. And when like push comes to shove, like is Wagler able to get to the rim, like you said, or are they going to force him to take mid-range jumpers and step backs and whatnot? Like Illinois' rim defense is good, and like if you take away Michigan's offensive rebounding, which I think Illinois can do to an extent tonight, like it's definitely going to make things harder for them. So I think like this could look pretty similar to the Duke game last weekend, where teams really have to grind out possessions to get baskets.
Let's be honest here, though. You say that it'll be a physical game. Like these games between the best teams in the country are physical games because these rosters were constructed to be great physically. Let's look at the top 10 teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Duke, physical front court. Michigan, physical front court. Arizona, physical front court. Illinois, physical front court. Florida, physical front court. Houston, physical front court. Iowa State, physical front court. Purdue, not quite to the extent, but they have a little bit of physicality. UConn, I mean, you've got Terrace Reed.
They're physical in the front court. It just depends, who stays on the floor is, another question.
Michigan State, really physical front court.
Yeah,
so your top 10 is full of physical front courts.
Yeah,
and then you've got other teams in there like Kansas, Virginia, that all have physical front courts.
Arkansas is not a great defense, but I do think of their front court as physical players.
Did you say?
Arkansas doesn't have a great defense, but I do think of their front court as like physical players.
Yeah. St. John's, physical front court. Georgia, not good basketball team. But they do have Santos Cyril, who's really physical.
So I think
sometimes too physical.
I think we're kind of hinting at something here that I've been discussing with you for what I feel like a month now. How many of these national championship contenders, and this is looking obviously bigger picture now, but how many of these national championship contenders have multiple guards that you can point to? Like, yeah, I trust those guys. These teams are all front court driven.
Houston,
a lot of them. Yeah,
Houston does.
Yeah, and I feel like the team that like everyone
is that Houston's superpower this year, that they are the team with the best guards.
Yeah, maybe. But I also think that like
here's my question. It's maybe not the year of the big, as in like, because I think the best players in the country are mostly like, there's a lot of point guards that are going to be on the All-America teams. I was going through this the other day, and a lot of the best players in the country are guards. But the sport is dominated in scent by the physicality of front courts, of units, not of individual players. Last year, Florida had a triumvirate in the backcourt and a quartet in the front court. This year, and that's two elite units. Who has two elite units this year, a backcourt and a front court? Are there teams like that have like multiple guards and multiple bigs that are like, and obviously that's like saying, oh yeah, are there?
Yeah, we're nitpicking here, but like,
yeah, we're nitpicking, but we have to. I think my point is maybe Houston's superpower, and we talked a lot of shit about Houston yesterday. Yeah. Didn't acknowledge this. Maybe Houston's superpower is that they have the best guards.
They have the best backcourt in the country. Like when Uzan is
on, have the bigs this year.
When Uzan is on, which I think he's starting to get to there, like that is their superpower. But like you look at like last year's Final Four, for example, and obviously, year over year, not everything's going to be the same. Like things are different. Like landscape is constantly changing. But like last year, look at the Final Four. Florida.
You may have had two of the three best backcourts in the country between Florida and Houston. Iowa State was an elite backcourt last year as well.
You look at Florida, guards that could create their own shot and hit off the dribble jumpers. Houston obviously had that component as well. Duke didn't have multiple like guards for that could hit off, like could make plays and create on their own, but like had multiple players on the perimeter that could create on their own. Auburn, Jedi Broom was their best player, but still had multiple guards that could create on the perimeter. Like these teams aren't just made up like that this year.
Well, here's the thing that I would say. Michigan doesn't have like a dominant ball screen guard, But do you not think that there's a little bit of creation on the perimeter from some of these guys?
No,
Like
Cadeau's absolutely.
Yaks can create on the perimeter, and obviously we know Cadeau can if he's hitting shots, which he has this year. Like maybe they get a little bit of juice off the bounce from one of the other 3 guards, but maybe they don't.
McKenny, yeah.
Arizona. Is Arizona's superpower that they have Braden Berries and Jaden Bradley, probably the best duo of ball guards out of these top 5 teams in KenPom?
Yeah, maybe.
Keaton Wagler and Kylan Boswell. If Boswell's kind of on his game, obviously Iowa State with Lipsy and Killian Toure and what Jefferson can do. It's a little different. Michigan State, I would say, has one creator.
Like, to be honest, like
Michigan State has one creator. They're not winning a national championship.
As inconsistent as like they've been at times this year, like Florida's guards are both excellent creators. Now, whether like the shot goes in or not is like who knows. But
well, that's kind of what their thing is.
We'll both get them off.
That's kind of what they're, and we'll get to Florida in a bit. They have a big one this weekend too.
Yeah.
Would you say that Arkansas has multiple?
Yeah, because Malik
Thomas, Billy Richmond's doing a little bit of it, even though it's not shooting.
Arkansas is just such a fascinating team to me because like they obviously have talent, but like they have, they have bigs who like, play their role. And they have creators.
That team doesn't play defense, man.
No, but
I mean they play more defense than Alabama.
But like Arkansas to me, they have multiple creators, multiple play finishers, and obviously some size. So that's why they're so fascinating.
Okay, another team that has multiple guards that can get a bucket, Louisville.
Don't trust them at all because they don't do anything else.
Yeah, I have thoughts on them coming up later. Alabama
thoughts
doesn't play any defense, but Holloway and Phylon can obviously get theirs. I would say
it's funny that like we're going down this list and like, we're almost more confident in like these teams' backcourts the further like if you go
Kansas has multiple guys,
but like these teams like ranked 15 or even 14 to 25 like they don't have like they aren't physical.
They don't play defense
as much as like the other teams, and like they have definitive weaknesses. Like in a statistical profile.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn has a bunch of creators. Pettiford, Hall, those guys. They don't play any defense.
No, you also like can be a creator.
Ohio State has one of the best offensive backcourts in the country with Mobley and Thornton.
You can be a creator and not a maker too.
Yeah.
Which is like what Todd Pettiford's been this year.
Yeah. I mean, SMU has creators. Edwards, Pierre.
Also play no defense.
Yep. It's frustrating to look at this year and just say like, I feel like the sport's really good, but there's so many really great players that are just on such flawed teams, and then that's kind of the landscape we're looking at right now. But
true or false?
What game were we talking? We were talking Michigan, Illinois, but that's kind of my point. I think we're going to get a physical Final Four. I don't know who's going to be in it, but as I said, the top 10 teams in the country
I don't know what the bracket's going to look like.
Top 10 teams are all very physical, or for the most part, very physical.
True or false? You feel less confident about the Tier 1 title contenders than you did a year ago.
Less confident, as in less confident I know what the tier is, or less confident?
Less confident in terms of like you trust these teams to like be able to get it done in the NCAA tournament.
No, I feel like I have the same amount of trust.
Okay.
I mean, Auburn, Houston.
Maybe there's just like more of them. Like
Auburn, Houston, Duke last year, and then Florida came about later, and Iowa State for much of the year. I loved those teams all year.
There were 4 teams to me last year that could win the national championship. There are more than that this year.
Yeah, there are more. I think Tier 1 though might be down to 4.
Well, we can have that discussion. I know we want to talk more games, but we can have that discussion.
Like,
in your eyes, was there also 4 last year?
I was kind of At this point, I had thought Florida, yes. So yes, there were 4.
And that was before they went on their run in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I got to a point with them.
I thought Florida could. I thought Duke, despite the close the eyes test. Florida obviously could. Duke, I thought could. Houston, I thought could, and Texas Tech, I thought could. I did not think Auburn.
I didn't think Texas Tech could win a national championship. I thought Iowa State, when they were healthy, was more likely, but
I absolutely thought Texas Tech could have.
I liked Texas Tech a lot. I didn't have them as a national championship contender. Two years ago, there were
right there.
3. 2 years ago, there were 3, and one of them lost their best player in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and got knocked out.
But there was also one team that was
2 years ago. There was only one, if we're being honest.
Well, I think Purdue and Houston were clearly. Maybe it's just like the idea that
I thought Tennessee was right there with those teams.
I didn't. Actually, I kind of did.
I mean, I had Tennessee in the national title game that year.
I think I had Tennessee.
And they led
Tennessee in the Final Four.
They led late in the first half against Purdue by double digits.
Yeah, no, I thought. Actually, yeah, I did think Tennessee was right, which is definitely I just thought. Okay, I wrote an article in like early March that year about how there were 3, but like Tennessee was kind of right there as well. Couple years, like 23, we have no idea.
No, nobody in 2024. Nobody took that North Carolina team seriously.
No, I'm talking 2023. There were no actual national championship contenders that year.
No elite teams.
And the media was right. We were wrong.
Yeah, that was the dumbest NCAA tournament of my life.
Well, 2022, like there weren't many like the elite teams compared to.
I didn't feel any good about any of those teams. I picked Gonzaga to win the title that year. I didn't feel
Arizona,
good about
which
any of
was
those
dumb.
teams.
Gonzaga and Baylor in 2021 were.
I thought a healthy Michigan was just as good as those teams.
Yeah, they weren't healthy,
but they were not healthy. Yeah.
But right now, this is the deepest field of national championship contenders that we've had. And I've been saying that throughout the year. It's just that like, the
deepest tier,
national championship
deepest tier in the context of like there's actual good teams in this sport.
Yes.
2023 needs to be like erased from history. You can keep your national championship, but like the rest of that tournament needs
that was
to be
a fun year for me. I went to my first Final Four. I went to my first MAC tournament.
It was a terrible tournament. The things that Jerome Tang did that year to college basketball were tragic.
Speaking of Jerome Tang, did you see he was at FAU last night?
I did see that. Fielder cannot hide.
No, he can't. 23 minutes we talked about one game and had a lot of healthy discourse about the state of the sport right now.
I actually loved the last 15 minutes of the pod or whatever.
I mean, that was one of our better like segments. Again, we're evaluating the pod on the pod.
So hold on real quick before we move on to previewing more games. You said you were down to 4.
I think Duke
Michigan, Arizona, who's the 4th?
Florida.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Like I think that Illinois, Houston, Iowa State are like.
I'm gonna say this.
Like, I haven't crossed them. I haven't crossed them off of the like if you start the beginning of the season with 365 teams listed and you cross them off when you're 100% sure that one of them won't win a national championship. Mm-hmm. I haven't like crossed them off. I've just bolded the first 4.
I am going to say this, and it miserably failed last year, but I'm giving it one last chance. Illinois and Iowa State miserably failed the close your eyes test.
You have to explain the close your eyes test.
Can you close your eyes and picture this team holding up the national championship trophy? Can you picture the best player on a given team surrounded by his teammates and coaches holding up the national championship trophy? I cannot picture. First of all, I don't even know who Iowa State would give it to first, which is maybe a problem in itself. Illinois, can you picture?
Keaton Lipsey's the 4-year guy there.
Yeah, it would probably be him. Could you picture Keaton Wagler holding up the national championship trophy, I absolutely
Dude, the president of Croatia would be holding up the trophy. Or Serbia or whatever.
One of those countries.
They have people from all of those places. It would be the agent that represents all of them. Misko.
Oh yeah.
He would be the one holding up the trophy.
Okay, I can picture Duke. I can picture Michigan. I can picture Arizona. I can picture Florida. I can picture Houston.
Wait, you can picture Blake Lidskin holding up the national.
I can picture. I can even picture UConn and sort of Purdue.
Well, yeah, it's easy to picture UConn
because they've done it.
Yeah, because you can picture Dan Hurley and Alex Caravan holding up the trophy.
No, but like, does it feel right? Like I could close my eyes and picture Keaton Wagler holding the national championship trophy right now. It doesn't mean it gives me a good feeling.
Okay, that's fair.
If this UConn team doesn't lose in the first weekend, then I think they're a threat.
I have genuine I am so excited.
They have a really high gear.
There's two, and this pod's kind of gone off the rails. There's kind of two camps with UConn here that I'm not sure where my thoughts fall into. One of them is they kind of just have been coasting through Big East play, and the moment they see. Dude, and the moment they see elite teams again, like they'll be fine because we saw what they did against BYU, Kansas, Illinois, Florida, Texas early in the season.
Dude, I just realized one of my favorite arguments has been sitting right in front of me about this UConn team all year, and I haven't used it. They're bored.
What?
They're bored.
Okay, here's the thing I would say.
They're not, but they're bored.
I don't think it's quite the same as the 23 team in terms of like the struggle in Big East, because I mean that team lost 7 Big East games.
No,
that
was
also a good Big East
team. It was just a young coaching staff, and like
But that 23 team also, that 23 team was legitimately like dominant in non-conference. They were number 1 in KenPom before their first conference game. They started that season 27th in KenPom. This UConn team started the season 5th in KenPom, went into their first conference game 7th in KenPom.
They beat the best Caleb in the PK85 in that championship game.
That was one of the I know the 24 team was better, but like the peak of the 23 team was as good as the peak of the 24 team.
You know what's funny is like that, we're talking about that non-con UConn team.
Yeah.
And like that's like that PK85 tournament is like when we learned about Taman Lipsey. And now, and like, we just talked about like, can we see him holding up a national championship trophy? When like we were probably more critical of, the 19-year-old freshman who like was unknown as a recruit than anyone else.
I wasn't critical of him. I loved him. It's just that like he couldn't make it. He couldn't make a jump shot.
No, dude, people would just go under screens, and it was a disaster.
We were critical of him because he was holding the team back for what he wasn't, but for what he was awesome.
Watching that team late in the year try to generate offense, I actually wanted.
That team also had the Caleb Grill situation. Their top usage guy was Jaron Holmes, who just couldn't make a shot all year.
No,
like that team getting a 6th seed is kind of a miracle.
Dude, nobody thought they were good. Did anyone think that they were making a run?
No, because they lost Caleb Grill.
It should say something that like we were very confident that Xavier team was winning the quad, and we were right.
I we knew that Iowa State team sucked against everybody named Baylor by the end of the year. They beat Baylor twice and lost to everyone else in the last month.
And that Pitt team that they got killed by tried like as hard as they could to lose to Mississippi State in the play-in game.
Oh my God, that was one of the worst play-in games I've ever watched. And that includes the 16 seed games.
Okay, we need to talk about actual games.
This pod's going to be a 3-hour pod.
Oh, I love it. I got nowhere to be.
Actually, I do have
somewhere to be.
Kind of a similar thought process to what we were just talking about. Like, Florida's best defenders are bigs. Their best players are bigs. Arkansas's best players are guards. Or best player is a guard, is a superstar guard. Will he be able to get into the paint against this Florida team is a key. Arkansas's average opponent defensive ranking since January 7th is 85.5. They have not been like the SEC is like does not have a lot of good defenses this year. And the ones that are good, like Arkansas hasn't played many of them recently. How many defenses in the SEC, Jonathan, are top 20?
Florida is.
Florida's 4.
Tennessee's
14. That's it. How many are top 40? You add Kentucky and you add Vanderbilt. How many are top 50? You add Texas A&M and Arkansas. How many are top 70? You add Alabama. How many are top 80? You add Georgia. There are not many. Like, that is a lot. There are 4 non-top 100 defenses in this league, and another 3 in the 80s and 1 in the 90s. Like, this is not a good league of defense.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's the fact that there are a lot of really good offensive players in this league. This is a terrific offensive league, but I also think there's something to this, that if you go to the conference by conference matrix, Jonathan, the SEC was 36-45 against other high major conferences this year, 2-16 against the Big 12. What does the Big 12 have, Jonathan?
Defense.
1, 2, 3, 4 top 10 defenses, another 3 in the top 30, and then another one in the top 40, and another one in the top 50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thankfully, you could always count on Dennis Gates to have a top 190 defense.
Hey, so he's in the top 100 this year.
That helps. I said top 190 because he said I said top 190.
This is something I was thinking about. Like, Arkansas is really good. Darius Acuff's really good. But, like, I've watched a lot of SEC basketball this year, and I haven't really come away, like, saying that I'm really confident in any of these teams aside from Florida, like, being in the NCAA tournament.
Dude, I've been talking up this Arkansas team since November, and, like, I'm totally, like, preparing myself for, like, absolute disaster when they get outcoached in the second round, and I say very mean things about John Calipari afterwards.
Here's what I'll say about Arkansas.
But they're so good. Their offense is electric.
They're so fun. But they haven't played and look, they beat Tennessee. Tennessee has the second best defense in the SEC and they scored 86 against them, 1.15 points per possession.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. Like, good there. It's not like Arkansas didn't score against Duke. They were 1.01 points per possession. They lost that game because Cam Boozer was Cam Boozer in the second half. And that was also really early in the season. Like, they struggled to score against Michigan State, sure, because they didn't make outside shots in that game. They have lost to all 3 top 10 defenses they've played this year. But, like, they scored 1.16 points per possession against Houston. They scored 93 on Vanderbilt, who's a top 21 defense, which kind of says something about, like, I don't really think, like, Vanderbilt's the number 3 defense in the SEC. Like, are you scared of Vanderbilt's defense if you're, like, a Big 12 team?
No, because they don't have size.
I mean, UCF dropped 1.25 points per possession on Vanderbilt.
Yeah. And Vanderbilt won that game quite comfortably.
Yeah, I will say, like, a lot of that came in garbage time. So I'll give them that. But, like, I don't look at... I just think Florida physically is just going to be able to do too much in this game.
So I think that, like, if you want to point to, like, one thing offensively that Arkansas doesn't do well, it's they don't get to the free throw line a whole bunch. And Florida in conference play has been very good at keeping teams off the free throw line. So
what I'll say.
What
I'll say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that if Arkansas is able to get in the lane to begin with, those bigs are just going to be too much for Acuff and Thomas and whoever else, attempts to drive in there.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be an avalanche of perimeter-oriented offense for Arkansas to win
Texas
this
had,
game.
I think, its 5th worst SEC free throw rate against Florida, which, like, okay, whatever. Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Georgia below that. So I get that, and I get that thought. Florida, for me, like, you do have guards that can kind of be hunted a little bit. Like, their guards aren't terrific
Yeah, no, it's
one-on-one defenders.
It's Xavier
But,
Lee.
like, if Xavier Lee gets beat and Acuff's in the lane, like, okay, now you've just got to deal with Chinulu, Condon. Like, what are you winning there? Is what I'm saying.
I think that, like, Florida's plan all year defensively, and this is something I think we probably talked about in the offseason too. I know I talked about it with my brother. Obviously not on this pod, but Florida, like, can allow its guards to be ultra aggressive on the perimeter and go for steals, knowing that they have these monsters at the rim, and they have a lot of them. Like, Micah's not even playing a whole ton, and we know how good he is.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'll say here. It's like this. I do think that Florida is going to win this game. I think Florida is going to win against Mississippi State as well, and they're going to win the SEC regular season title.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
The next time Florida loses will be in the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
And, like, probably, I hate to, like, label this, but, like, Elite Eight.
Florida hasn't lost since January 24th.
They feel so safe to me.
What'd you say?
They feel so safe to me.
Yeah, they just feel so safe. Like, I said this the other day. I'm like, what type of matchup am I picking to beat Florida? I don't really. There's not anyone right now that's, like, not maybe.
Like, they're an elite rim defense, and they don't let you get threes off.
And, like, they were bad in the beginning of the year, and like, they almost beat Arizona, and they almost beat Duke.
Yeah. And they were right there with UConn.
Yep.
Like, looking back on this, like,
I was concerned about them because their guards were, like, playing really, really bad at that point.
A 6-point loss to Zona, where their guards played horrific. A 1-point loss at Duke, where their guards played horrific. Well, Fland was good, but Lee was not. A 4-point loss to UConn, where it really felt like they played horrific as a team. Like, I know Lee was good, but, like,
had some big plays too.
The first half, they looked totally overwhelmed. And, like, other than that, like, the TCU game, we know, like, TCU can beat elite teams. They've done it on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of this, like, in non-con feels excusable. And, like,
yeah, no, it is. And I think
it was a new backcourt figuring stuff out, and they have
at this point in the season because of how good Duke and Arizona have been, and obviously UConn just not losing to anyone besides St. John's and Creighton in the Big East. But yeah, we're 40 minutes into the show, and we talked 2 games, and we have a lot more.
They also, like, clearly trust Klavzar a lot more than they did for
Isaiah Brown.
Yeah.
Virginia at Duke. Jonathan.
Oh, you want me to start here?
I have a couple notes.
You can
like,
go ahead.
Virginia's bigs don't foul a lot, like, for how good they are at protecting the rim.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Duke can draw fouls against anyone, and Duke just doesn't. Like, Duke's free throw margin in conference play is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, like, that's like Duke's superpower. Like, they are just, that's their math ball. Like, everybody kind of has their math. Duke's is that. 38-19 free throws in the last game. I know that against Michigan it was close, but, like, Virginia's a good front court. I don't think they're a Michigan level front court, and I think that it's just Duke's a different level from every other team in the ACC, and I love Virginia. I think they're awesome, but I don't think Virginia has seen a team like Duke at any point this year.
Yeah, I think this is a tougher game than, like, maybe people are giving it credit for. Virginia is very good, and They're very well coached. But I think Duke, Duke always scouts well, in my opinion. They do a good job blowing up actions,
Yeah,
and I think if they want to win comfortably here, they have to come out with a similar like mindset and energy that they did against Michigan. Like keep them off the offensive glass, go win the rebounding battle, be the more physical team. Because I think that's like sort of been Virginia's calling card is the offensive rebounding component, and Duke is not an elite rebounding team, but they can be an elite rebounding team when they need to be.
So you know how we kind of talked about the SEC has offenses, the Big 12 has defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ACC has teams that are like two-way solid. Like Miami 44-38, NC State 26-41, Carolina 33-39, Louisville 15-28, Duke 7-1, Virginia 24-15. So like there's not. So
can I say something?
Just something. What?
This NC State team does not feel like a borderline top 40 defense at all.
No, not even close. They feel like this.
That shocks me.
They
I
are
would
118 to Louisville.
I would have guessed they had like a top 20 offense and top 70 defense.
Which, by the way, coming into the season, not really what we expected from them.
Never would have guessed, but every time I watch them, I feel like they're just like getting blown out.
It was probably a miss on our end, just on like who they're playing. Because like I think we thought it would be more Arsenault, and like Copeland wouldn't be like this offense. He would just be like a physical, really good defender.
Yeah,
and like Holloman hasn't like.
Breed's been hurt a bunch. Like
yeah, it's the big situation for them that like we should have seen coming on their defense.
Yeah, we really should have, because that rim defense is not great.
But back to Duke, Virginia. If Virginia comes out and hits shots early, which we know they can do, they have great shooters. This was kind of the thing that I talked about with Virginia early in the year, was how many different guys shoot really well from three. Sha'Carri White's 47, Sam Lewis is 40, even Grunlow hits shots. And DeRitter's not hitting like at a high rate, but we know he's got some range. Malik Thomas again has range, 37% in conference play. Dallin Hall's kind of struggled in conference play, but we know he can shoot. Tillis is shooting at a really high rate when he's able to play. He missed one of the games this week. So they have a bunch of different guys that can go out there and hit outside shots, and obviously they can grab rebounds. That's a good formula. I think Virginia is kind of going to need to be up by like 6, or like 6, 7, 8 points in the first couple media timeouts to win this game. I don't think they're like coming back in the second half.
Agreed. Yeah, I think if Duke can set the tone early, this is going to be, not a Duke blowout win, but a fairly comfortable win.
I just want to see if I can find this stat split second half.
Florida and did a really good job in Cameron in the second half against them.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I don't have like a strong recollection of second halves at home. Like I imagine the SMU one wasn't great.
All right, I'm ready to. Oh, Duke clinches the 1 seed in the ACC tournament with a win.
Not the outright title, right? The 1 seed.
Technically, not the outright title because they would
have the tiebreaker over. They would have the tiebreaker over Virginia, obviously.
Oh no, they do clinch. Yeah, no, they don't. They don't.
They don't, because Virginia would only have 3 losses, and Duke would have 1.
And then Duke, the scheduled loss to NC State coming up on Monday.
Correct.
Dude, if NC State loses that game, like we've had that penned in as a win for NC State for a long time.
I don't even think it's going to change my expectations about anything. Like I've said, NC State's going to win that game since last April.
All right, Kansas at Arizona. Kansas going for the sweep of the Cats, which would open up the title race in the Big 12, because Arizona can clinch a share with a win, and Kansas would obviously be eliminated from being able to share it. Arizona has the loss to Kansas, and obviously the loss to Texas Tech. The loss to Kansas came with no Darren Peterson in that game. it also came with Koa Pete playing and with Dwayne Aristode playing 8 minutes, at least for Aristode. So Arizona and Kansas it's going to be a different look in this game. Kansas dominated the interior in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can they do that? Can anyone do that twice to Arizona?
I think part of it was just like them feeding off the Allen Fieldhouse crowd.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. It's just like, can they do that twice? Can they dominate the inside twice? I don't know.
Yeah, even without Koa, I think it's going to be a tall task with their somewhat like pretty limited depth in the front court. Like Tiller was obviously hitting some big shots for them in that game, but it was like all Fleury. Like Fleury took over that game in the second half. Him on the glass and on the defensive end, and Council, with his facilitating.
Just looking at some CVB analytics stuff right now, this season, Arizona is like 65% at the rim in the game against Kansas, the game against Tech, and then the game against BYU. They were 41, 37, 42 at the rim in those games. The last two since then, 68 and 61. So a little funk that they had at the rim in that stretch.
Yeah, like looking back at that game from a couple weeks ago, like Bradley was terrible. Pete obviously got hurt like midway through the game. Krivas turned it over 5 times. Dolorso was a non-factor. Like, I don't know if you can bank on all of those things happening again.
Yeah.
Plus, there's always the question of, DP minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think Kansas is like quite as good of a defensive matchup for Arizona as Houston was. Like, just like on a schematic level, and like Arizona still found ways to create against Houston because of Karchenkov and Delorso in that game. Now, I think Kansas isn't quite as aggressive in preventing the guards from being able to control the game off the dribble. I want to see if Arizona's guards can take over this game, and I will get the Darren, like, at some point, like, it's going to be like the Darren Peterson game, and maybe it's already happened. Maybe it was the Texas Tech game when he had those 2 big shots. Maybe it was that first half against BYU. Maybe it was the Louisville game in exhibition. But like, I wonder if there's going to be like the Darren Peterson game that we all think about at some point. Could it be this one?
I don't think it'll be this one.
I don't either. Texas Tech, Iowa State. This is the first real test for Texas Tech without JT Toppin. And I think it's just really difficult. They're going to need Lawan Watts to be really good for them, because if Iowa State is going to be able to force the ball out of Anderson's hands, and Texas Tech might just not try and run ball screens and just try and have Anderson go one-on-one with Lipsy, or Toure, who knows how that will go, but
yeah,
maybe they try and keep the ball in his hands. Maybe they try and get Anderson just dribbling around all of these hedges, and he tries to just create for himself in that sense, because who knows? But Watts is kind of that pressure valve that can be a secondary playmaker. Obviously, he's not as downhill dominant as Toppin is, but Watts is a good passer from different spots on the floor, and I wonder if that can help in this game. He hasn't really had a ton of assists in conference play. The rates aren't great. Watts has 97 offensive rating in conference play. It's not very good. It hasn't mattered a ton because of how good Anderson and Toppin have been, and Atwell as well, and Petty. But now you don't have Toppin, and now you're playing a big game without Toppin. And Anderson has delivered these 2 games. KenPom MVPs in both, 31, 7, and 11 against Cincinnati. But like, this is a different test, and this game I think is going to tell me a lot about what I'm going to think about Texas Tech going into the tournament.
Yeah, I think I'd have a hard time picking Texas Tech to win this game if JT Toppin was playing. Like, Hilton just seems to be a
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
nightmare.
how does it look is my thing.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that Watts is going to have a really tough time playing bully ball if Joshua Jefferson's the guy guarding him, which seems to be like the likely matchup.
Yeah, I mean, like the wild card for Texas Tech is obviously you have two of the 5 best shooters in the country in Anderson and Atwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Petty has certainly improved as the season has gone on.
Let me check something on CBB Analytics right now because I want to see how many guys have these numbers that 3-point made and 3-point percentage. 44% with 90 made threes. Sorry, that's not the number. 40% with 90 made threes. In high major basketball, Jonathan, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in high major basketball with 90 made threes at a 40% clip. Can you name them?
Repeat that one more time. 9 guys.
5 high major players with 90 made threes, a 40% clip.
9 players, you said.
5.
5 players.
5 high major, 9 total.
90 made threes, a 40% clip. Christian Anderson.
Yep. Christian Anderson
is one. Who? That's tough. Let me say.
I wouldn't be searching this if it weren't for another guy.
So this is Momchilovich.
Yes, but that's not the one I was thinking about.
Atwell,
yeah, 2 more.
So there's 3 of them in this game.
Yes, 2 more.
I will say not someone on Bama.
No, not on Bama, but you have the right color.
Arkansas?
No. There's one guard in the SEC and one forward in the Big Ten. Both of them play for red teams.
Okay.
The guard in the SEC is not going to make the NCAA tournament.
Oh, Hubbard.
No, that's like maroon.
That you said they both play for red teams?
Red.
Is the Big Ten forward Price Sanford?
Yes, it is.
And then the SEC guard you said isn't going to make the tournament?
He's not going to make the tournament. He has been in college for a long time.
Like definitively not going to make the tournament.
Unless I'm missing something, I do not believe that this team is going to make the NCAA tournament. They are
okay.
They're 14-14.
Oh, well that's not good. Is this this is Nigel Pack?
Yes.
Okay.
The mid-major players are Michael McNair from Boston University, Adam Olson from South Alabama, Jaden Booth from Samford, and obviously Jonathan.
Booth's really good. Tyler Lundblade. He was my first thought when you said that. Huh?
Texas Tech has 2 of these guys.
Yeah, they can still be an effective team without Toppin. Spacing is not going to be as good, I think, because you don't have Toppin's gravity drawing guys in.
And if you just make it like 94 made threes at 43%, it's just Anderson, Atwell, and Milan. Which I know is nitpicking stats, but
I think it's weird to me because I think Texas Tech can still be an effective team without him. Their ceiling is obviously not nearly as high. But they are going to play differently without him, and I think teams are going to have to adjust to that. So I don't know if you'll actually see those effects in this game or, maybe in the next couple of games once you have some more film.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Do I have anything else on that game? I don't believe I do. Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama did not have Amari Allen or Aiden Holloway the last time these two played, but they did have Charles Bediako in that game.
Dude, what the hell?
What?
I have received an unnecessary amount of spam calls this week.
Okay, let's talk about basketball, Jonathan. Alabama, Tennessee. Phylon didn't play in the last game for Alabama against Mississippi State. I hope he's going to be back. I'm not sure. I don't think Bama's winning this game without Phylon. But I also think that you look at what kind of Tennessee was able to do in that last game. Nate Ament played one of his best games of the season. I think with Amari Allen back in the picture for Alabama, which he didn't play in that last game, I think that kind of changes the math problem a little bit for Ament.
Yeah, he's surprised me this season. Allen, I did not expect him to be the best freshman in this Bama group. And
I mean, not only is he the best freshman in this Bama group, he's legitimately been one of the best freshmen in the country, and we haven't really talked about him. Like, he's averaging 12, 7, and 3, 47% from the field, 39.8% from 3.
Sam, do you know who his top player comparison on KenPom is? Without looking?
Yes, I mean, I'm on his page right now,
Okay.
so
Your
I
favorite
gotta
player?
say though, like that was that was back when he was what, the third best player on his team?
Yeah,
Roden?
yeah. Jared Roden is who we're talking about.
Yeah, back when Jared Roden was the third best player on his team, maybe fourth. If you say Quincy McKnight was better.
Yeah, Miles and Mamu
Sandro, yeah.
were
But I
definitely
mean, Roden kind of had a really good stretch to end that. Did he have a really good stretch after? Because Mamu got hurt at the end of that year, right? Or no, Mamu got hurt in the middle of the year.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I that was a long time ago. But Jonathan, what are some other thoughts that you have on Alabama, Tennessee?
I think Bama's going to have trouble containing Gillespie. Like, they do not have a good point of attack defense at all, which is part of the reason that despite Aiden Sherrell's high block rate, they are still a really bad defense. They provide little to no resistance when it comes to keeping guys in front of them and turning you over. So I think Gillespie should have his way in this game. Now, like it being a Tennessee obviously helps. And I think that like who Alabama puts on Nate Ament could be interesting. Like they don't really have a guy, outside of Allen who,
I mean, it'll be Allen.
Like, yeah, who can match his length at all.
I mean, it'll have to be Allen, right?
Yeah, I think that I think Tennessee should win this game. Now, obviously, you could never count out Bama coming out here and hitting 18 threes in a game. But matchup-wise, I think this favors Tennessee. I think they'll be able to slow it down. I think Bama will have trouble getting stops in the half court.
Alabama, Tennessee last year at Tennessee was one of the best games of the season.
Yeah, opposite of Tennessee Auburn, which was not one of the best games of the season.
That game sucked. It was electric, but it sucked. And then you had that was one of the Janai Broom aura farming moments from last year.
Yeah, one of many.
Is Janai Broom, like Miles Chase obviously number one? Was Janai Broom the number 2 aura farmer in college basketball last year?
Behind
Miles Che.
It was number one, Che.
Miles Che.
Oh, Che did some elite aura farming, but it was earned. Yeah,
I mean, Xavier Lee and Princeton did some crazy aura farming last year.
You might be right. You might be right. It might have been Janai number 2.
Princeton did some unreal aura farming last year. They were down like 20 in like 4 games, and they came back and like had a shot to win all of them.
It kind of felt like Calipari was aura farming in press conferences, but
Who are give
I
me
suppose
the
that
top
doesn't
5
count.
Aura farmers in college basketball this year?
Top 5 aura farmers.
Well, oh no, Patino last year.
Patino last year was aura farming literally every
That
game.
was an unreal aura farming performance.
Okay, so top 5 aura farmers in college basketball this year.
Yeah,
That's the question,
I
right?
feel like Yax has to be up there.
Yeah, Yax is up there. The Quadir Copeland is up there.
I mean, that's just his game.
Yeah. Who else? Who else?
I wonder if Darren Peterson is saving up for like one massive aura farm run in the
He's building up ammo.
Yeah. AJ, holy crap, AJ.
Yeah, that's always been the case.
I mean the second half, the terrible first halves and elite second halves is just unreal aura farming.
Yeah.
Shirts kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, aura farming isn't like an insult. Like you can like there's good aura farming.
No, you can be a great aura farmer.
Who else has been really good aura farming?
Jeremy Fears in a negative way absolutely has been.
Let's see. I wouldn't call what Miami is doing aura farming. It's something on
they
a
just
broader
suck.
scale.
They just suck. and devil magic.
Who else could possibly be?
Speaking of Miami, it's time for me to send out a tweet.
Oh God.
You
we're doing a show right now, Jonathan.
You keep talking.
I'm just trying to think who. If you've made it this far in the show, like you're awesome. Because we've been just talking about so much that isn't the actual games that are happening this weekend on this show. I would say, yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it for the aura farmers of the year. Maybe Christian Anderson.
Auburn hasn't been good enough to have any aura farmers. They're usually the team that does.
Like I don't think they're farming aura. They're just not very good. Are there any mid-major like aura farmers this year? Like, is there a Miles Che this year?
Robbie has not been.
No, I mean maybe with the way him and Shirts have been talking about each other
on Twitter, yeah.
But I think that's more of a Shirts thing, if anything.
Yeah. I don't think there's been any.
Oh, Eric Pratt.
I mean, he's just being an idiot. He's not aura farming.
He spat on a dude last night.
Yeah, he got suspended today.
Yeah, I saw that. Gottlieb.
I don't really think there's any.
Gottlieb.
Is it aura farming or is it like
I don't know if like I don't know if I'm being insulting, if I'm being complimentary. Like just
dude, Eastern Carolina's keeping Michael Schwartz for what reason?
Wake Forest AD gave him a vote of confidence. All right.
Do you know how many times I'm going to use that line when picking the NCAA tournament bracket this year?
All right, Jonathan, we've got to move on and talk about the next games. Vandy, Kentucky.
Oh, great.
I don't really have a ton of thoughts. If you have anything, go ahead.
I'll dive in a little here. I think, it being at home is like really important for Kentucky. Like losing to a team like, it's Vanderbilt's obviously the better team this year. And at Kentucky, obviously helps. But like Kentucky losing to a team of Vanderbilt's like past caliber would feel like really defeating, I think, for those guys. Like, I think they're still like clinging on to some hope because like they have some decent wins. They won at Arkansas. They swept Tennessee. And they beat St. John's at a neutral site. Like, I still think that there's like some hope there. But like, obviously their season's been, for their standards, a disaster. And like, this is an opportunity at home late in the season to like get a big win, build some momentum.
Yeah. Don't really have a ton of thoughts on this game. I was like the biggest Vandy like super fan in the world earlier this year. I'm not all the way there right now.
Kentucky's final 3 games, by the way: Vandy at home, A&M on the road, Florida at home.
They could
not
lose all three.
not likely, but they could go 0-3.
Yeah, that would be that would put them in position to be what the. Let's see what.
I would have to imagine they would be like on the bubble in that case.
No. I'm saying like in the SEC tournament, like because what games would it get them?
I'd imagine like the 10 seed.
They would be 9 or 10 seed, most likely.
They would finish 9 and 11,
which would get them an opportunity at most likely Florida if they got the 9 seed and beat the 8 seed. It would get them an opportunity against Florida. Mm-hmm. So maybe, but like they already are getting an opportunity against Florida.
I want to correct myself. They would make the tournament despite going 0-3 here, but like it would start to get people to ask questions.
Oh, I mean, it absolutely would. I mean,
these are all quad 1 games though, so they would be okay.
I mean, they would be what at that rate? They would be 18 and 13.
18 and 13, 5 and 11 in quad 1.
Yeah.
Have to imagine the metrics dip a little bit.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that if it happens. I don't know if it will.
It's unlikely.
Couple more big time bubble games. You've got Texas A&M, and Nebraska USC. Kind of USC with a big opportunity for a bubble win after 4 losses. For marquee win after 4 losses in a row. USC kind of. Where are we at on USC?
I think they're terrible.
I do too.
I don't think they're good. They're a absolute.
I mean, they're 59th in KenPom right now, Jonathan.
They are a absolute get these guys out of here team.
And they should have lost to Seton Hall and Maui as well.
Yeah, they
probably should have lost to Troy. I'm just trying to think. Are they the worst Maui Invitational champion?
Have to be, right?
There's no way they're not.
To be fair, they were a lot healthier back then.
It's true.
But Elijah Arenas has not helped them one bit.
I mean, we knew that this was going to be a bad Maui Invitational. Like we did. But like
I really hope Elijah Arenas stays another year in college for his sake.
I have minimal interest in watching Elijah Arenas play college.
No, I'm saying for his sake. I'm not saying I have any interest in watching him either.
He has, Jonathan, a 29 usage rate and a sub 90 offensive rating.
Yeah. It's up there for least efficient players in the country.
In terms of high major guys, absolutely.
Yeah. Texas A&M is semi-intriguing just because,
Oh, it's very intriguing because of the bubble implications.
And like 2 teams that play totally different styles. Granted, one team does not play the sport of basketball.
I don't know if either team plays the sport of basketball.
The other team attempts to play the sport of basketball. They just try to do it at a pace that's way too fast.
Like, Texas is going to make the NCAA tournament, but like they're still kind of like hanging on to the bubble a little bit. Texas A&M probably also
they're
going
extremely
to
unwatchable. Extremely unwatchable.
I think both of these teams are going to make the NCAA tournament, is what I'll say. But I think that the winner most likely locks themselves in, barring a bad loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A couple other high major games that I have written down. Louisville, Clemson. Nobody in the country needs a win more than Clemson right now.
They've dropped all the way to 41st in KenPom.
Yeah, they are 140th in Torvik in the last 4 games. But what I will say, really, really bad variance on shooting splits in those games. 47% effective field goal percentage offense, 60% effective field goal percentage defense in those games. Positive regression game, maybe?
Maybe.
Considering Louisville struggles against good teams?
Do we classify Clemson as a good team though? That's the thing?
I mean, they were 26th in KenPom 2 weeks ago. And then they had this stretch of really bad variance. Maybe that's who they are. Maybe the really bad variance is closer to who they are. But they hadn't been outside the top like 35 in KenPom all year until literally after this last game.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say they are a good team, at least somewhat.
Sure.
And then kind of, I think Carter Welling's been banged up a little bit.
Yeah. They do definitely need this one. I think Louisville wins.
Villanova St. John's. Again, Villanova is going to make the NCAA tournament, but Villanova is 0-5 against teams ranked higher than them in KenPom, 22-1 against teams ranked lower than them in KenPom. Like, this is their last chance to beat a team that ranks higher than them in KenPom until the Big East tournament, when they will, if they win this game, likely get St. John's in the semifinal. If they lose this game, likely get UConn in the semifinal. This game is a huge swing game for the Big East title, obviously, because St. John's currently holds the tiebreaker over UConn, as UConn's loss is Creighton and St. John's other loss is Providence. Creighton's higher in the standings, so you get down to them first in the tie-breaking procedure. So this is a big game for that. UConn plays Seton Hall. Obviously, a loss there would change the math again.
It is at home, so
yeah,
so it always helps. St. John's to me has gotten back to the point where, like, they'll be really good against teams that are at their level or below their level. Once they play up, not so great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't think Villanova's going to physically handle them.
Now, Villanova has become less physical as the year has gone on. Their calling card was offensive rebounding early in the season. That's basically gone away. They're 8th in the conference in offensive rebound rate right now. I don't think this Villanova team is very trustworthy at all.
Another big-time bubble matchup, San Diego State and New Mexico at the Pit on Big CBS at 2:00.
San Diego State played like what felt like the perfect game against Utah State a couple nights ago. On the road, tough place to play. This feels like a natural comeback to earth game, almost.
I agree. Virginia Tech, North Carolina.
Gross.
The
big news around North Carolina is that Caleb Wilson is supposedly going to be back for the Duke game next week.
I don't know how much I believe that.
That's why I said supposedly.
I think it's more likely he's back for the ACC tournament. But I have no idea. Let's see. Do I have any other games listed down on here for high majors to go over? I don't. So unless you have anything else on high major ball for today or tomorrow. Well, we already did the high major game today. Anything tomorrow that catches your eye?
No, not particularly. I mean, Gonzaga St. Mary's is obviously a mid-major game, so we'll start.
Oh, shoot. Did we not talk about that?
We did not talk about that.
I thought, for some reason, we did. I have notes on that. Yeah.
St. Mary's is 26-4. They've won 7 in a row and have Gonzaga come into town for the final game of the regular season with a conference regular season title on the line.
A share, because I think.
Yes, it would be a share.
Because I think Gonzaga clinched the 1 seed.
There's a way to find that out. And I'm finding that out.
How are you finding it out?
Gonzaga would be above them because they're 2-0 against Santa Clara, and St. Mary's is 1-1 against Santa Clara.
Yes. So yeah, the top 3 seeds are already locked in the WCC. It's going to be Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Santa Clara in that order.
Yep. The GOAT.
What I'll say Gonzaga was 116th in offense in its first 6 games without Braden Huff. It's now 30th in the last 7 or last 6 or however many since Huff's injury.
He's come back.
No, he hasn't come back.
Or since they've gotten used to playing without him.
Yeah,
almost.
Part of that is like Ike missed 3 of those games, and Ike's an All-American. Like, probably not a first-team All-American, but like, dude, these numbers he's putting up are outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, you go to his KenPom page, and there's just a whole bunch of red numbers here to signify that he is nationally ranked in a category.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 KenPom game MVPs in 26 games. It's
he said quite the year. Quite the year.
And then
is Braden Huff going to come back?
I don't know.
I was under the impression that
Gonzaga. The other thing for Gonzaga is I think Saint Supidi has been turning it over a little bit less recently, and Fogel has turned into a little bit of a passer over the last couple games. He had 6 assists in the last game against Portland, 3 against San Francisco. That's big for them. Meanwhile, for St. Mary's, since the loss to Gonzaga, Joshua Dent is averaging 7.4 assists per game. He had the back-to-back 11s. He had 8. He had 8 twice as well. So he's taken that step as well as the season's gone on. So fascinated by him right now, and obviously for him being just a sophomore, fascinated by him long term as well. It's a very young St. Mary's team, and like they're 26-4. Like if they're able to keep these guys, hopefully they are able to. Like Wessels is, I think, their only senior. Wessels is the only senior on this team. Hopefully they can keep Morauskas around. Hopefully they can keep Dent around. And Shaw.
And McKeever is, I think, better than Wessels.
Yeah, I mean, McKeever is probably better than Wessels. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Jonathan, Miami plays today. I'll let you talk for a minute.
Do they?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they play Western Michigan.
I didn't know.
I know. That's crazy.
I just tweeted about the game like 10 minutes ago.
I know. I'm asking you to talk about it for a second.
What do you want me to talk about, dude? Miami's going to be up 20. The Western Michigan will get it down to like 8, and Miami will win and probably be right around the KenPom projected spread, therefore not moving the ranking at all.
That's exactly what I wanted you to say.
It's every game, man. It's every game.
I have a bunch of other mid-major stuff that I want to get into here. Akron, Kent State. Speaking of the MAC, like Akron's quietly dropped a little bit in KenPom.
They have not been playing as well.
Haven't been playing quite as well. Still scoring like a ton of points, but not playing quite as well recently. Kent State's really good. This is an away game. I wouldn't be surprised if Kent State picks them off. Don't think Kent has beaten Akron in a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised either.
I'm just trying to think. When was the last time Kent beat Akron? I think 2020. The 2023 MAC tournament was the last time in the semifinals.
Wow.
Dayton GW. All of a sudden, Dayton has won 4 in a row. Amel Latong has been awesome.
I told you they were playing better.
Yeah, they are playing better.
Yeah.
Amel Latong had 26 and 10, 17 and 10 and 5. He's been really good recently. Rafael Castro came back in the last game for GW, which changes the complexion of the Atlantic 10 heading into.
Yeah, had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists in 24 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Castro is he the best player in the conference?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely, like, he's not the player of the year, but I think he's the best player in the conference. And GW obviously got that win. They're at home, 2 more home games, and then at Loyola Chicago. They have a path here to finishing 10-8 after that 4-7 start.
Yeah, like with him healthy, not a team I'd want to run into in the A10 tournament.
Yeah, but like they could still have a favorable seed.
Right. I do think Dayton is playing a lot better. Like, obviously, really impressive win against St. Louis earlier this week, but like won handily against George Mason, Davidson, and Duquesne.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just see something. GW, if they win out, they get what's they would like be in the conversation for what seed?
It's funny how teams can sort of just change their season on a whim.
They'd probably still get the 6 or the 7 seed. So yeah, that would be a really tough matchup for say a VCU in the quarterfinals if GW gets to 7 or something.
It's funny how teams can like change their season on a whim in college basketball. A couple weeks ago, Dayton plays VCU on a Friday night on the road. Like they look like they don't even want to be there, and they haven't lost since.
Yeah. I've got App State, Texas State as a monster Sunbelt game.
Yeah, just because of how dramatically it can change Sunbelt seeding.
I think like Texas State can be like the 1 seed or the 8 seed.
It's I think that like something about how like the teams can flop between like 2 and 7 depending on win or loss, which like normally wouldn't be a big deal, but with the Sunbelt bracket and it being staggered, could mean you have to win 2 extra games.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I think it's the craziest. I don't like that the Sunbelt uses this bracket, by the way. I think that like after last year where you had a 4-way tie for first place, like they probably should have realized that, hey, like our league is a little bit too competitive for this right now. Like I'm all for rewarding conference champions, but like in the offseason, what were we saying about the Sun Belt? Oh, I have no read on who's going to win the Sun Belt. It's the last day of the Sun Belt regular season, and I have no read on who's going to win the Sun Belt.
Yeah, no idea who's going to go win that tournament.
No, I have no idea who's going to win the regular season.
Yeah.
There's 4 teams tied at 11-6 and 3 teams tied at 10-7.
I mean, last year we got 4 different graphics from team accounts for regular season conference champs.
We could get that again. We might be able to get more. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is just a really balanced league right now.
Yeah, because nobody
in this league above 146.
None of the 11 and 6 teams play each other. So we could theoretically, Jonathan, get a 7-way tie for first.
A 7-way tie?
Yes. Here's how we get that. Troy loses to Louisiana. Never mind.
They would have to lose to Louisiana Monroe, right?
Yes, Louisiana Monroe, which is 1-6.
Who's horrible?
Who's horrible? Lost by 35. Oh, hold on. Troy only beat Louisiana Monroe by 1 last week.
Yeah, and they're an 18-point Ken Palm favorite tonight.
I've got Queens at Central Arkansas and Austin P. Bellarmine in there. Queens Central Arkansas is a really, really good Sun game. Central Arkansas is still in the mix to win that regular season title and get the 1 seed. They would need a win and an Austin P loss to Bellarmine. Probably not going to happen for them, but we'll have to see. Queens, 13-4, number 1 offense in the conference. So something to keep an eye on there.
Central Arkansas is still playing for a share of.
No, they're playing for the 1 seed.
They're playing a share and the 1 seed.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
because they've
had quite the year. They've lost 1 game since January 10th. That was against Florida Gulf Coast on the road single overtime. Friend of the program by blood, John Schulman, has had quite the year.
Yeah, I want to see what their Torvik rank is since December 21st. Sorry, because they started moving up in KenPom after the Vandy game. So since December 13th, what is their KenPom rank? Sorry, their Torvik rank.
Yeah, God, I would guess like
154. So it's about where they're at. So what about since Jan 15? Because I'm not having a ton of success with sorting data.
No,
right
no.
I'm not getting the narratives to come about for me.
Hey, you know what they say? Every national champion needs to take a loss right before the season ends.
136 since Jan 15. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good basketball team.
Tennessee State, UT Martin. Speaking of the Schulmans, not kind of as optimistic from the UT Martin perspective as I was a couple weeks ago. They were kind of they pounded a couple teams, maybe they pounded a couple bad teams, and then ran into a tougher stretch of their conference schedule at 11-2 and have lost a bunch of games. They ended up beating Tennessee Tech on Thursday.
I'm still kind of in. Like,
no, I still think they're probably.
I know they've lost 4 out of 6, but like three of those 4 have been decided by 3 points or less.
Yeah, would also say Morehead State has won 7 in a row to take the first place, and they are the current favorites. So if UT Martin wins, Morehead State gets the 1 seed. If Tennessee State wins, then I'm not sure who gets the 1 seed. I'll have to figure that out.
I will go on bball.nothing.net.
And then the last thing that I have, and there's also SEMO, who's 13-6. SIUE's 11-8. So good fun stuff in the Ohio Valley. Will be a fun Ohio Valley tournament next week. I think it'll be one of the more competitive ones. I think there's a lot of like competitive conference tournaments here. Like, so that's one of the things that like maybe you don't get like as many mid majors that are truly like threats to win NCAA tournament games. But maybe the benefit of that is you just get more competitive conference tournaments.
So if Tennessee State wins, I believe they're the 1 seed.
Okay.
Because they would have gone 2-0 against UT Martin while Morehead went 1-1.
I've got Howard and Morgan State tomorrow at Morgan State. Morgan State won at Howard earlier in the year and on January 24th. Howard has not lost or played a close game in the MEAC since then. They did lose to Yale in overtime. Yale's not in the MEAC. Morgan State's 349 in Ken Pom, and if they win this game at home, they will have the inside track to the 1 seed in the MEAC tournament.
Sam, the Fighting Ethan Box, after a 4-0 start in conference play, have lost 7 straight and now sit in 8th place in the conference.
We talked about this.
Not good.
Brutal.
This is
going
to be a 7-team conference.
Shout out Coppin, who's won 4 in a row.
Coppin, who is ineligible for postseason play.
Correct.
This is going to be a 7-team conference tournament.
Yes. And Delaware State is real bad.
It's going to be a 6-team conference tournament, and that's being generous.
This is maybe my favorite conference ever because because it's an 8-team conference. 6 of the 8 teams are 347 or lower in Ken Pom.
Yeah, it's
just maybe the most fascinating conference.
It's the worst ranked conference in the country by far, and somehow Howard, who's almost 100 spots higher than everyone else in the league,
they're 130 spots higher than all but one team,
is playing for first place.
Yeah,
insanity.
They lost a close one to South Carolina State away, and they lost when Maryland Eastern Shore had the power of the mighty Ethan Bach.
Yeah, they still have the power. The power's just not as strong as it once was.
Yeah. Trying to think, are there Ivy League stuff? Yes, some Ivy League stuff to get
we got
into.
back-to-backs.
Back-to-back this week. Penn hosting Harvard and Dartmouth. Dartmouth today, Harvard tomorrow. The Quakers, I believe, clinch a spot in Ivy Madness for the first time since 2023 with a win today and some help. Win both games, and you're definitely in. I also believe that if Yale beats Cornell today and Columbia tomorrow, both away, tough, like not easy to win on the road.
Are they the 1 seed?
They will, and with a Harvard loss to either Princeton or Penn, Yale would clinch the 1 seed. And I believe that they are likely to get it regardless. I'm not sure on the tiebreakers.
That's a tricky one today. Yale on the road at Cornell. Cornell hasn't been playing particularly well, but they can really shoot it from 3. So you never know if they're going to get hot at home and, knock off a good Yale team here.
I mean, yeah, Cornell's last game, they scored 54. They don't do that very often.
No. Harvard's really good, though.
No, Harvard's been good. 150 in Ken Palm. Their only losses in conference play are Dartmouth by 8 in the first game of conference play. And then Cornell by 7 because Cornell made a lot of threes, and Harvard made a lot of threes in that game too.
I cannot believe they're going to get 2 more years of Robert Hinton.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Like, because he's not leaving.
Tabar Bohr has been really, really awesome as well. So,
yeah, Robert Hinton is fascinating to me because he's been really good this year, but he's not Harvard's not good enough nationally, and he's not good enough nationally that they've garnered that kind of attention yet. But next year and the year after, Harvard could be really good because of him, and they could be a legit national story. There's this kid who was a top 100 recruit, decided to go to Harvard, and is lighting it up there.
I mean, they could I don't know what the league's gonna look like top to bottom next year in terms of who comes back, who doesn't. But Harvard will Harvard is in place to return Hinton, Barbour, Batiste, Hunt, Eisendrath, Menino.
Yeah.
A lot, basically all their rotation guys except for PJ.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those guys are gonna stay. And obviously Hunt coming back from injury, but they could be real good next year. And Yale's gonna return Yale's gonna return Celiscar, Mullen, Sampson, Riley Fox. They probably have a couple freshmen that aren't playing.
Harvard's got another, borderline top 100 kid coming in next year as well.
Yeah.
Jason Singleton.
Yeah, so that's our Ivy kind of chat right now.
This is
anything else?
This is a top 2, right? To you?
What?
Harvard in the Ivy League? Is it a top 2 or a top 1?
I think it's a top 1, but I do think Harvard's really good. I think Harvard's more beatable than Yale, though.
Yeah, and I guess the X factor is Penn's decent.
I mean, the X factor is obviously right now hey, is Nick Townsend going to be back this weekend for Yale?
I think the other X factor is if Cornell makes it, they have to get the host.
True, that's true, and it's not a good spot for other people to get to.
Yeah, so it's going to be Cornell.
Cornell, Dartmouth, those two are the hosts this year and next year. Getting in for them is an advantage because not as many people are traveling to Ithaca or especially Hanover versus traveling to Philly, Princeton, New Haven, Boston, New York, Providence. The other 6 spots in the league are all on the Northeast train corridor.
Was it 2022 when Yale won the tournament on a buzzer beater? Or am I thinking of something else?
It wasn't a buzzer beater, but Princeton turned it over on the last possession and Yale won. And that was at Harvard.
Okay. Which one were you at?
23, the semis, when Princeton beat Penn at home and then lost and then beat Yale at home. And then I was at the 24 final when Yale beat Brown at the buzzer at Columbia.
24 final when Yale beat Brown at the buzzer. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Brown was up 6 with 30 seconds left in that game.
Yeah. And
then Yale went on to beat Auburn.
That Yale team won an NCAA tournament game.
Yeah. And
they were freaking good.
Yeah.
Anything else from you?
I think I'm mostly good. Just maybe some housekeeping stuff on the NEC. Lemoyne clinched a home game in the playoffs last night. Good for them. I'll be at their game tomorrow against New Haven. You get some America East talk as well. I'll just mention UMBC 12-2. Yeah, they're 12-2.
I know it won't mean, anything, but Portland State at Montana tomorrow is a really good mid-major game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great mid-major game.
Portland State's got the 1 seed, I believe, locked up in the Big Sky.
They do.
I think that's all. That's all I have.
Yeah, I think that's all we got, Jonathan. You want to take us home?
Possible show tomorrow. Definitely a show Sunday night.
Yeah.
Is my read on it?
Yep. I think that's where we're going to go with this. Jonathan, take us home.
All right. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about the top 5 Aura farmers in college basketball this year, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been Season 6, Episode 90 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers, and we'll see you next time.